Hello everybody, welcome to the first game in the Group B of this Newcomers Tournament. Today we have a match between Bloodknock, Classy, Alex, and Esper. I'm Philothanic, and joining me today is Death Tacticus. DT,
Hello.
what do you think about this map?
My game is still loading, so...
Okay, well, it's an interesting one. We have a lot, there's a nice little maybe scientist spot around here. Water could be an issue. There's mostly in two or three clumps. Alex takes an expansive for 16,000. That seems like an okay found. I might have held off a little bit more simply because no one else is going for it.
I like Bloodknock's spot because there are core samples in this map, and he can core sample some water next to his base.
Right.
However, I don't like his steel.
No, shipping steel is a bad idea. Bloodknock also wants to immediately buy his aluminum before it gets expensive.
HQ has been founded.
Yep.
A scavenger HQ has been founded.
Classy with a robot kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Ooh, that's a weird opening.
Yeah.
Splitting his steel.
The scavenger HQ has been upgraded.
He still gets adjacency from the iron, but still.
He does immediately gets HQ2 and going for this aluminum claim, not terribly far away, but not the best. Esper also at HQ2 going for a long distance shipping scavenger. He's splitting the difference between his carbon and his aluminum. I would rather see him right next to the cliff edge for the carbon.
I'd rather have him go next to a resource, like say aluminum, because in the late game you don't need aluminum, so you better found next to that.
Yeah, the only thing about that is then he's shipping a lot of carbon long distance away. Versus
But
you can always turn that aluminum into a solar panel.
I could do that.
So shipping might be an issue for Esper. We'll have to see how the fuel goes. He also has a high water pump that's a decent distance away from his base.
Ooh. And he's going into power with a dust storm going in 15 seconds. That's going to be nice for him.
Yeah, that's a good move. Bloodknock finally gets up to HQ2, moving into some of his water. He still has one more claim. Going for a medium aluminum as all the highs near him have been taken.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Alex also going HQ2, going for a black magic special, one single farm. Three steel mills. He doesn't have enough iron for the steel production, and the steel price is starting to meet the iron price, so that is something to take a look at as the game progresses.
Pirates.
Yeah, he needs to put an iron mine down ASAP, but he doesn't have the claims for that, so...
Esper pulling out into an early lead, decides to put down some pirates instead of protecting his wind turbines, and is immediately punished by a power surge from Classy. Good use of black market by Classy.
Yeah, however, he's going into more power now, so maybe he will gun those, hopefully. There's a claim going now. What do you think once this claim?
Well, Esper needs to be careful with his claim because he does want to make power money. He doesn't have a lot of debt, and with his 18k, his power money, well, now Classy had it for 20. If Esper wants power money, I wouldn't bid on it.
Sold.
So that's what it looks like. Esper's going to try to do a pickup for 20k by Classy this early in the game. It does seem like a good bargain to me.
Indeed. Classy is going to upgrade. He probably wants to put more wind turbines next to his one single wind turbine. But he chooses to go into more steel and iron.
Well, he can't...
Which I really don't understand, because the iron price and steel price is really low.
He can't quite afford the wind turbine, but like, yeah, his steel is very, very creative. That's how I'll describe it in its placement. Yeah, like you said, there are better options for him to go as far as making profits. Even maybe moving into some electronics right now might be a good idea rather than steel.
He has his water that he has turned off. He could maybe go into life support with those claims, but yeah, he chooses not to do that, so...
Alex did get up to HQ3, keeping decent pace with both the scavenger and the robot. Always nice to see as an expansive, now one level behind. Esper as a scavenger still has that single black market, black magic farm. I'd like to see him build it in pairs. Remember, pairs gives you adjacency. 2 buildings gives you the output next to each other, gives you the output of 3 single tiled, and there we go. There's the farm.
Yeah. He is in C depth already. That's really bad for him. That's early in the game.
He does have a geotherm. He is
Scientific HQ
covering,
has been upgraded.
almost covering all of his debt. Once his farm comes on, that'll cover a little bit more, so he'll need to be really careful moving on to the game.
There are cook-the-books on the market, so he probably wants to take those. Yeah.
Power
So he
surge,
doesn't-
1 tile by Esper, guessing correctly out of the 2, which was gooned. Esper is in the lead, HQ4, making power money, has a upgrade to HQ5 if he chooses. In life support, Esper's in a really good position.
Ooh. He can maybe also buy into someone if he waits a bit.
A robotics HQ has been
Ooh, an
upgraded.
optimization center. Do we... Well, how much does this go?
Expansive HQ
do you
has been
think?
upgraded.
Well, I might, so if Alex is bidding on it and I'm Esper, I'm going to try to bid on it more, get Alex to go for it, then maybe I can start buying into him. Alex just did a very risky upgrade, given the amount of cash that Esper has on hand. He is in C debt. If you can get him to go into D debt, his stock price is going to go down, and then Esper might be in position to make a majority buy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, with that auction to Alex, Esper can buy Alex
here he
now, and
goes.
he's going to... Yeah. I would like to see that he buys into himself first and then sell it down
Yeah.
for his last stock.
So what DT is describing is you want to buy this one single stock in yourself first, and then when you get to all 5 here, you can sell out. You'll gain more money than if you just go straight like this. So Esper is slowing down on the amount of cash that he's pulling in himself right now, but he is pulling in more cash quicker than anybody else on the game, so he should be able to get this majority buy just fine. Alex is finally getting into some cash himself, but it's not enough.
No, it's too late for him. So Esper, with a really good early lead, is going to buy Alex out any moment. And that's going to be interesting for the late game, because these 2 players, Bloodknock and Classy, need to work together
HQ has been
to
upgraded.
win against Esper.
Yes, Classy is sort of feeling the awkwardness of his position. I think he's shipping in, well, he's shipping in from miles away. He has a medium distance aluminum, medium distance water, far carbon, far silicon, maybe going too much into these primary resources, given the price, what the price of power was.
Look at that carbon price.
Yeah, $1 a second for carbon. That carbon is using $41 in shipping expenses, which isn't too bad. Esper does make the buy as we expected, putting him in a commanding lead in this game.
Okay. I'm looking at Offworlds now. Offworlds are terrible, so...
Offworld, yeah, so this is going to be an on-world game, and most of that money, life support and electronics.
Yeah, it's an electronics colony, however, chemicals is also going up on the colony with laboratory. 3 of them, so that's going to be interesting. A lot of
HQ has been upgraded.
carbon-based buildings.
Let the bidding begin.
Classy does take the upgrade to HQ5 as Esper stalls out a little bit after making that purchase onto Alex, but Esper does have that cushion of his much inflated price so he should be fine in the short term. We haven't talked about Bloodknock much recently. He's been ignoring core. Well, he does have a core sample. I'm not sure where he used it.
You used it on the aluminum, which is a nice aluminum to have next to the base, but I would rather see two.
Yeah, two
Get more
water
water from
tiles.
it.
He's shipping electrolysis
Like,
reactors
yeah.
long distance, which never the best.
Ooh, with pirates and magnetic storms on the market.
No, that's very, very risky. He does get to HQ5 before Esper, so that's good. Both Classy and Bloodknock are on HQ5. Esper still struggling just a little bit to get to HQ5, but finally has the income he needs. Just waiting a little bit longer for some carbon and some aluminum to get in. He has the upgrade. He takes it. All our players in HQ5. Classy. Decent amount of cash on hand, going heavy into these electronics.
Let's get our science on.
Ooh, that's a bit too much, I think. You want to spread up the resource productions evenly, not go into one market. You want to go into multiple separate markets, if I was him.
Yeah, six is a little bit excessive. I maybe stop at 4. Even 4 runs the risk of crashing the market too quickly. Especially
However,
considering
I
that
understand why he does it, because he doesn't have enough water to get like life support on.
he doesn't have enough carbon either, and carbon's getting a bit expensive.
But he's going into carbon scrubbing now, so that's nice.
Yeah, surprised that this is the first patent lab. There are some decent patents on the market. He does a super class. He has superconductor cold fusion, so he's been researching, and we haven't noticed just yet. Carbon scrubbing, thinking machines queued up. Offworld still bad, so not really sure what thinking machines will accomplish.
Well, there are dynamites on the market, and they are still cheap, so maybe you can snipe a optimization center, and then with thinking machine you have extra defense of that.
Esper is catching up in cash to Classy. He has 2 more claims that he needs to put down. I'd like to see him put more claims next to his base, as a lot of his claims are remote, which is always a little bit awkward as a scavenger since you don't have very many claims to go around to begin with.
Nope. And Fleshy-Dome going
Should go
to
for more than that.
Classifications.
16k is a bit cheap.
It's a free claim. You can, even if the Fleshy-Dome is not making you money, you can put a optimization center in it.
Well, all the pleasure
So, yeah.
domes are making decent amount. 179 in cash for this new pleasure dome.
Even the sub AI has a Fleshy-Dome on the colony, which is a bit funny to see.
So Classy has a bunch of extra cash sitting around. If I were him, I'd be very tempted to start buying into Alex.
Yeah, he needs to buy into Alex to get his stock price up.
And to get
After that, he will be in the commanding leads, I think.
yeah, or at least tied with Esper. Classy has a cash on hand advantage, in part because Esper's still sitting here with 2 claims, hasn't decided what to do with them.
Esper, wow, 2 claims not used. Okay.
Bloodknock
What do you...
also has 1 claim, undecided what to do with it. He is starting to catch up a little bit in some cash, is immediately going into Esper. Esper
Ooh.
should be able to defend himself, but if Classy joins in, which he did, this could get a little bit awkward. He will defend himself successfully, but Bloodknock and Classy buying into Esper, what they both need to do.
Okay. So Esper is going to defend himself. Look at Bloodknock's base. He got unlucky with the core samples. He only got aluminum next to the water.
That is very unlucky. That also might explain why he still has 1 claim unused.
1 claim. What can he do with that 1 claim? I would go maybe extra water and then go into fuel. Like, scrap your steel and then go into fuel. You don't need the steel.
No, he
Except
does.
if you go into the Offworld, but he's not going to do that.
The sub is building an Offworld. Given the Offworld prices, that's not very good. Classy
We
shoot.
have a hard
So
to come by land
Esper
claim
will be a little bit
available to the
disappointed with
highest
that.
bidder.
I don't think so. Offworlds are really good. The longer the game goes, the more chance Esper has to win. He needs to buy into into Alex,
Yeah.
so he can have more profit later.
And every moment that Classy does not buy into Alex either is a mistake with this huge cash pile that Classy has on hand. A lot of that is sitting, 200 of it, in electronics. So
Electronics, does he want to hack it?
$63,000 sitting there in electronics. Now the price of electronics is going up, so that is
The black
currently
market is
a
online.
decent investment, but other players, Esper, is producing electronics himself, so Classy's giving Esper a little bit, some free cash.
Indeed he is. And I must say,
The
Corbin is
optimization
really
center
cheap again.
is
People need to
online.
buy
Let
into
the
it if
planned
it's cheap
obsolescence begin.
and iron.
Yeah, Classy's continuing to over-rotate into different buildings. Although
6 chemicals.
chems
It's way too
are
much.
giving 200 a second, so I can definitely see the temptation, but that price is dropping pretty rapidly. I'd rather see at least 2 electronics maybe, and then 4 chems.
He's a robotics. I would rather see like to let him put reactors and chemicals next to each other, so we have an extra adjacency bonus. But he's choosing not to do that.
Successful.
Yeah, it's really easy to forget about those adjacency bonuses. As the robot, Classy does defend himself completely. I'd rather see him buy into Alex, as we mentioned a couple of times. We have 3 optimization centers out on the map. Let's see what our players optimizing. 2 optimizations in food, a couple in life support, and 1 in carbon for
Engineers have
blood knock.
advanced our production.
Classy has 1 in a host of different things, mostly life support, and then chems, and then Esper, just 3 water, carbon, chemicals.
Esper is not upgrading anything, which is really bad for him.
Yeah,
You
he
should always keep upgrading if you can. Well, I clicked on it.
especially considering that life support still remains high, Offworld profits are almost getting there, but I guess 66k for an
The patent
Offworld
lab
for
is ready
Esper to
begin
put up.
research.
Classy with Thinking Machines 109k.
But there are dynamites on the market, black
Yeah,
market, so
14K
it's not worth
dynamites.
it.
Classy's going to pull in a good amount of money off of the superconductor power, 2.5k a second. That's going to kill the power price, but not before he makes a good amount of money.
The
Although
pleasure dome
those
is
solar
fully
panels
operational.
cost 22k for him to put down, at least the last one anyway.
Well, there's also a solar flare, so that helps.
Yep.
With the
Power is
production.
dead, but Classy with a nice cash infusion. Classy is 39% of the way out of Esper, whereas Esper's starting to buy into Classy 13%. I'd still like to see players invest in Alex. The longer the game goes, the better
Optimization
owning that
routine
sub will be.
I see that Classy bought 1, but 1 is not enough.
No, we
Keep
need to
buying
buy
it
the
now.
next 3, especially with his 27k. Classy is going into an off-world market. It is Goond and Thinking Machines, but Dynamites are only 14k. The good thing for Classy is an easy Goon Poppers, network viruses, circuit overloads are not on the map.
Yeah, plus the guns are still really cheap. Only 20k, so he will be fine.
The engineers have
Esper
advanced our
has
production.
teleportation now, that will help him a lot with his off-base
Shipping.
resources. Yeah.
Yeah, he decided to go
The
in
black
for more
market is
water
open for
instead
business.
of putting claims next to his base, so he's still a little bit low on the usable claims next to his base, but He is using some of his carbon quarries to produce electrolysis reactors to make up for that.
I would rather have him go 3 reactors. You don't need that carbon.
No.
Especially when carbon is so low.
Alright, come on, Esper. Or Classy. Finish the buy into Alex. He's making Esper right now just under 1.5k a second. If you finish that buy,
Wow.
you probably might be able to catch up to Classy, as Esper's position is a little bit perilous as both players are ganging up on each other. I'd also like to see more black market raining down. Black market prices are decently cheap.
They are really cheap. It's interesting that Bloodknock has 4 stock in Esper, but Esper chooses to go into Classy because Classy has the money to finish him off.
Yeah, he's not in the best situation, so I kind of agree with the decision to go into Classy, but it's first, but it's never something that you want to do.
It depends. I think I still think Classy will win this one if he just buys Alex's stock.
Yes, if Classy did buy into Alex, he should win. Especially once Alex's transitions finish and the well, no, he's still making 1.5k a second. For Esper, 200 a second for Classy. Classy is making good use of that off-world market, is making good use of all of these optimizations and life support, pulling in a ton of cash.
Wow.
62% of the way of the buy for Esper. Meanwhile, Esper, finally starting to use that optimization center again, has 1 claim next to that optimization center unused. I'd pretty much put down anything at this point. Any building would be better than leaving it blank. Solo chem reactor sounds like a good idea to me.
I think he wants to put another optimization center and just keep upgrading. But I think it's too late because Class is almost dead by Esper. He only needs 24% to finish him off.
Yes, Bloodknock has a decent pile of cash on hand, has a decent amount of Esper owned, so once Classy makes the buy, this could turn into an interesting race between Bloodknock and Classy. I'm not sure that Bloodknock has enough income.
Bloodknock is not in the right market. You can see he only is making money in food and nowhere else.
He's making okay money in these electronics. He still has those steel mills up, which we mentioned earlier would be a good idea to switch even into iron. 110 a second for a high. Oh, this is going to be a very close race between Esper and Classy. Both players at 89-90% of the buy on each other.
Classy needs that launch to go off, but I don't think he
should
have Esper has it.
Esper does have the buy. He just needs to realize that he has the buy. If he sells out of everything, he does. This puts Esper in what should be a commanding position to win this game, especially if he buys out some more of Alex. Alex is making so much money.
Yeah, if you look at the dividends, you can see 620k already from dividends, only from Alex already. That's a huge amount. And everyone could have gone into him, Alex, but they didn't choose to do that.
Right, Classy was so close to the win. If he bought in a couple more shares into Alex, he would have gotten a lot more dividends, a stock price boost. Probably would have had enough time for his off-world launch to go off, and we might be looking at a different outcome.
However, Bloodknock still needs like 350k to win this game.
Right, it will be a closer finish than you might expect.
I still think Esper has it
I
because
do
of the
too.
sub money.
The sub money is pretty good. Linux steel mills are finally making a decent amount of money. Would have been better to transition out of them into something else and back into them later.
Look at that glass price. Is someone buying into it? No,
No, that's just natural.
that's the real price. No one is producing it.
Classy did just build a second Offworld, so that's probably where the price boost came from.
Successful off-world
So once
Going into an off-world this late is a mistake,
Oh,
especially if you look at the price.
that was the
how much-
that was the sub AI.
The black
Oh.
market is open for
Oh, yeah.
No,
I'm
the sub AI does dumb things.
Looks like it.
But
So you need to fix that.
once this second Offworld does come up, Esper should have the dividend income to pull himself into the lead, as he is just under 7% and climbing on Bloodnook. Bloodnook's making a good show of it at the end, though.
Yes, he's going into glass now. It's off base, I think. I don't see his glass. Yeah, he's going to ship oxygen. Well, he has to do something with it, so yeah, better do that than nothing.
Yeah,
It's interesting that he has core samples 2 carbon beneath the glass kilns.
yeah, he did get unlucky. Right idea with those core samples, but core sampling a bunch of aluminum next to his water. Very unlucky.
Ooh, he has to buy already. Okay, and Esper wins the game. Round 1B.
Yeah, good win by Esper. Going into power early, allowing Alex, was it Alex or somebody else, to take that early tile auction, so he was able to make power money. And then Alex upgrading, making one of those classic new player mistakes, upgrading when you are in danger of being bought out. Was punished for it by Esper, and Esper was able to ride that early buy to win the game.
Yep, the game was all about the early power money, and after that it was the sub money.
And we mentioned it multiple times, but it's worth mentioning at least one more time. Classy would have bought into Alex. Would have had a really good chance at winning this game because it was really close.
It was really close. The sub money from Alex was just too much for Classy to overcome.
Yeah, let's take a look at that sub money. $1.1 million that Esper made off of that sub. That
And
is,
look at Classy, 17.6 only from that one stock. So you can imagine if he had 4.
4 stocks, that price boost plus all that income definitely would have made it a different game. Bloodnook also had the option to buy into Alex too, so just something if you're a new player to think about buying into subs, especially is a bet of the game going late, and when it does go late to Soul 11, it's always a good thing to have at least a couple, if not more, stocks in a sub.
Looking at black markets, Esper used a lot of black market effects against everyone else. Classy with 11, yeah, that's good. But I would want to see more black market usage from players in the next games. However, I must say the black market is really bad, to be honest. Cook the books.
Yeah,
Auction the tile.
it
Wow.
wasn't that great of a black market. Can look at optimizations here. Esper probably could have bought a few more optimizations, didn't need it, but if he had a few more optimizations, it might not have been as close of a finish between him and Classy. Classy and Bloodnook also doing a decent amount with those optimizations.
In interesting to see that Esp is only improving 1 on each resource, except chemicals. Whereas Bloodknock is like improves all 4 of food.
Yeah, perfect might have been a little bit of an overkill for food. We can go
Looking
check
at the
and
price of
see.
food. Yeah.
Yeah, food never got super high, but Bloodknock did make the most money out of food, 633k food sold, so perhaps it worked out for him.